He was talking to his friends on the game, and he said that he was gay. That was very odd to me. So when maybe 2 or so days later, in conversation, I just kind of, I heard, not trying to be deceitful or anything, I overheard you say you were gay. And he looked at me and he was like, we haven't talked about that yet. I said, no, we have not. And he said, oh, I thought you knew. I said, no.
I was watching TV the other day and I learned about they. That's how they use it. I was confused.
Obviously, friends that are queer and homosexual friends and, different things of that nature. But as far as transitioning completely, I just feel like it was a fairly new concept to me.
So I asked to be educated by Nora. It's like, Nora, I don't want to offend anybody. How do I refer to so-and-so? Or if I say they, then she's like, Mommy, how do you know that's they? How do you, so it's like, don't bite my head off. I'm trying to understand, but I feel like you're defending them, but I'm not trying to offend anybody.
I was 12 when I started exploring sexuality and understanding what that meant to me.
When Clay came to me with the notion that they were non-binary, you reflect back on all the moments in life, leading up to that moment. That was Daddy's little girl, and now you have to change your frame of mind.
I came out as transgender when I was 9 years old. Definitely at the time, it was a bit of a point of contention in my family. So it wasn't something we could talk about or share publicly.
I had been a single mom, so I raised Jax by myself. For me, that was a huge part of my life and my kind of growing up and becoming an adult. That disappearing was hard for me.
You have to move away from the space of, okay, Clay is rejecting their past self and the labels that you use to identify them, and moved to the other end of the spectrum where it's about embracing
Who I am now.
who they are now.
Having these questions around who they are, what they identify with is incredibly normal. So I just make it a part of my practice to ask about it. And so I encourage parents to do the same. Start young around these questions. And then as they start to explore a little bit more, they can come to you with some of those questions as well.
Sexual orientation is about the physical, romantic, emotional, and sexual attractions that individuals experience to members of the same sex or another sex. For gender identity, that's your internal sense of yourself as being a man or a woman or some other gender on the entire spectrum.
And then gender expression is really how it is that they're expressing that gender identity, whether it be through hairstyle, clothes, behavior, voice.
We were watching a movie, and then I was like, what did that guy just kiss that guy? And she was like, well.
As far as sexuality goes, everything that exists in the natural world was discussed in our home as though it were just things that exist in the natural world.
There have been moments where we'll talk about, well, when you have a wife or a husband one day, where we catch ourselves and make sure that it's known that whichever way you go is where you go.
My girls have always known. They had 2 moms. They have friends with 2 moms. They have friends with 2 dads.
There's a lot of non-affirming places. And so one of the ways in which we can normalize that this process of identity is okay is by utilizing resources through social media or utilizing celebrities who are going through this process. So that way there are ways in which they're connected to you, but also seeing this is okay. You're not weird or different because you're going through this process and asking these questions. This is all part of identity building.
According to our research, only about a third of LGBTQ youth will tell us that their home, their family, is a safe or accepting environment. That said, LGBTQ youth do want to tell their parents. They want to share their identity with them. And what's really important is, how you respond. Because we know that of youth who have come out to their parents, those who receive acceptance and welcome have significantly lower rates of suicidality than those who experience rejection.
I go by he, him pronouns. My mom, she only refers to me with they, them pronouns. It's a little frustrating at times.
I wish I could commit to saying he instead of they. I wish I didn't at times make it about me instead of them or him.
I know that there is a lot to learn, but maybe the place to really start is educating yourself around pronoun usage or the different types of sexual orientations.
If you're having trouble accepting your child's identity immediately, it is important that you allow them to find that network of support. Whether that is at school, through an LGBTQ community center, even your faith community can be a place where LGBTQ youth can find supportive adults who will embrace them.
At the elementary school I was going to, we had this really nice counselor. I had my name changed in the school system. She was the one that brought me around to my different teachers, like the music teacher and my primary teacher, to tell them this. I remember specifically from when I came out, my mom reached out to a lot of her friends to ask questions and things like that, because she didn't understand why.
It's okay to be on a learning journey, that you're not just gonna go on the internet, learn all the things, and you'll be fine. And you can be vulnerable with your child and your teen that you're in this process. I think the number one thing that they wanna know is that you're willing to be part of that process and that journey, and compassionately curious about what they're going through.
The words that we use matter. The way that we talk to people matters, and it's life-saving, let's be real. I am so, so grateful that I have a supportive community.
Jax did a school play and got to be the male lead in the play. And I just never seen Jax beaming with such confidence. I mean, it was really just, I cried. I mean, it was just amazing to see. And so that definitely was a big eye-opener.
I want people to see that even if your parents aren't as accepting, it's still possible to maintain a relationship. And I think it's just important to work on it together. I'm feeling positive about where we are now. I think it'll get better, and I actually think this video would help.